Hello friends, it's Rick and Lisa's Kitchen and Garden. I just harvested a whole bunch of veggies from the garden. I harvested a whole bunch yesterday as well. It's busy time harvesting. This is a kind of green beans with a little bit purple stripes on it. They're very delicious. A friend gave me the seeds. These are the cucumbers. Every day we would harvest quite a few cucumbers. So we have abundant cucumbers this year. And this is another kind of green beans. We call it white beans, and some flat beans as well. Flat beans also called pig's ears. They look like pig's ears. They're very nice. They taste differently from green beans. We also harvested some squash green. They are wonderful for making soup or stir fries. You have to cook them. And I also harvested some dried beans for seeds. And look at that, strawberries from my garden. Some people might be wondering, how come you still have strawberries in your garden? This is the type of like 4-season strawberries. You can harvest it throughout summer and fall till snow falls.
Stick it in the fence to hold it off at the end. And then I just grate it.
Yeah. Rick just harvested a whole bunch of mugworts. Oh, the smell of mugworts is very nice. And he's breeding them. So after that, he will hang them in the garage, let them dry. They're good for taking a bath. You boil the leaves and soak yourself in winter when your joints and muscles aches, or when it's too cold to cope. They are also good for mosquito repellent.
You burn them, like a smudge.
Yeah, you can use them for smudging. There's also a kind of treatment in Chinese medicine. It's called mugwort herb puncture, or something similar to acupuncture, but you don't use needles, you smudge. And in the meantime, the flower garden is still doing very well. As you can see, everything is still blooming in prime time. It's just wonderful. This is the other angle of the garden, the flower section. Everything is blooming so nicely. We grew some flowers for the pollinators and also for our own eyes. It's very nice. This is the other patch of flowers, and I have some bitter melon. It's producing fruits very nicely. These bottle gourds producing a lot of fruits. They taste very nice, very pleasant, but you have to eat them young. These are the very productive cucumber plants. They do very well, and I feed them regularly with organic fertilizer, so the plants looks nice and green. And they are very productive. They keep producing fruits throughout this summer. It's just so nice. And the green beans are doing so well. The beans are very long and full. This is my Indian gourd. It's getting pretty big. There were more fruits on the vine forming. It's very nice. They are edible too. They're very tasty, but you have to eat them young, otherwise the skin will get very hard like cardboard and you cannot eat it anymore, but you can still use it as a container. And these are Delicata Squash. They're doing well, they are maturing, and there were more fruits on the top as well. They are pretty productive. These are cut squash and buttercup squash. They're doing very well. Look at the flowers. It's just so nice, so pretty. Even just looking at the flowers, it's a very pleasant view. Let alone there attracts birds and bees. and they produce nice, tasty fruits. This is a Lufa. It's short and chubby, very cute. These are crooked neck squash. They're more like zucchinis. They keep producing giant fruits. I gave two to my friends yesterday. I keep giving them to friends because I just have so many. Of course, there's tomatoes. Look at these big tomatoes. These are the tomatoes I mentioned to you in previous episode that somebody threw it out. We pick it up. They produce okay, but I don't find they are very tasty as the other tomatoes I grew in the past years. But in the meantime, the cherry tomatoes I have are very, very good. They're very sweet. They are full of flavors. And a lot of friends were asking how come they have a lot of green tomatoes and they don't ripe. The trick is you have to trim off the excessive leaves. As you can see, every single plant of my tomatoes don't have a lot of leaves. They don't need a lot of leaves. Tomatoes, you have to trim off the excessive leaves on regular basis. Yeah, because they keep growing and you have to keep trimming. Whenever the sucker comes out, there's a leaf supporting the sucker. When you cut off the sucker, you cut off the leaves supporting the suckers too. And you can just leave the leaves opposite to the fruit like this. This is the leaves supporting this fruits. You can leave that. And see, I chopped off a lot of leaves. So you can harvest the tomatoes right in the season. Otherwise, you end up with no tomatoes to eat in summer, and in fall you have tons of green tomatoes. It's difficult to keep, and you miss the prime time enjoying your tomatoes. This is the other patch of my flowers. Overall, the garden is doing very well. I hope your garden is doing very well too. The goji, we have been harvesting goji like crazy. Look at these peppers. I got a lot of peppers too from the garden. And I don't have to buy anything from the supermarket, vegetable wise. It's just so very nice and healthy, and zero carbon emission. These are the cut squashes. They're getting pretty big and they are very productive. They can be used as summer squashes or winter squashes. When they get mature enough and you use them in winter, they taste so good. They are more like a buttercup squash. Here's another big cut squash. It's over 2 feet long already. It can grow up to a little bit over 3 feet, based on our record. I hope you enjoy gardening and have a lot of fun. Until next time, keep gardening.